Denied by destiny, trapped in the shadows of the mate bond. Chapter 31. Hector's point of view. It was my mate. Rosa sobs out, her breathing becoming erratic again. She's going to need some kind of draft to calm her down. She needs a doctor, Kaia demands, my head whipping around to her. I start mind-linking the head doctor, ordering him to attend my home immediately. Kaia abruptly grabs my arm, and I could have sworn no. I'm imagining it. A female doctor, she adds. It didn't take long for the head doctor to respond to my ordien through the mind link to come immediately to the Alpha House and bring a female colleague with him. As soon as they arrived and took one look at Rosa, they changed their approach. Kaia was right. Rosa responded better to a female physician. I even suggested that Kaia acted as a chaperone, helping to take Rosa upstairs. We were watching Kaia help take Rosa upstairs, all us males quiet, waiting for the door to close. Rosa was resting her head on Kaia's shoulders, her sobs still prominent but becoming less frequent. As soon as Rosa was out of earshot and the door was closed, Riley starts to dart for the front door, abruptly pushing his friends aside that are trying to prevent him from leaving. Killing him now will seem like we are attacking, which would start the war the Amber Desert Alpha wants. You can't fall into their trap. I calmly state to Riley as he almost reaches the hallway. And what about my sister? She's 16. 16 Alpha. Some dirty fucker has had his hands all over her. Riley was struggling to maintain his growing anger. He needed an outlet, and killing the bastard that attacked Rosa is exactly what he needs. His own hands were shaking, his wolf needing out. Riley, I'm ordering you to stay here. Rosa will need you when your parents arrive. I'll handle it. I'll make sure you get to kill the bastard, but if we attack tonight, all of the pack will be in danger. I stop talking when I hear footsteps coming down the staircase, and we all turn to find a rather pale-looking Kaia rejoining us. She's asking for your mum? She softly says to Riley. She's composed, but my wolf is picking up on her heartache for the girl upstairs. Mom, oh goddess. How do I tell her? Riley covers his face with his hands. You don't. Ask your parents here. Get them here first. She's now asking for you. She's very distraught. She's been given a draft to calm her down and elf her rest. Even if you just sit with her? Riley, gather your parents here. I'll handle the rest. I'll know if you disobey me. I make it very clear before Riley parts that he is to get his parents, and that's it. As soon as Riley leaves the house, I order the men to stand guard on the borders, ensuring Ezra quietly puts the pack on security high alert. Alone with the head doctor and Kaia, I walk Kaia out of the room and back towards the staircase. Is it what I suspect? I keep my voice to low. The doctor hasn't finished her check. Kaia shakes her head, suddenly resisting to meet my eyes with hers. Kaia. I'm not sure, she's still shaking and refusing to answer questions, but judging by her bruising on her upper thighs, then yes, I would say you could expect the worst. Fuck. Then make sure she takes this. My head doctor comes out, handing Kaia a tablet. What is it? It will destroy any of his sperm. Kaia looks down at the pill for a moment, her eyes going wide as she seems to debate someone internally. Hey, are you okay? My hand very easily lands on her shoulder. Yes. I don't believe her. She is deathly pale and keeps touching her upper stomach. I'll make sure Rosa gets the pill. She nods to the doctor before heading back up the stairs. I watch her until she reaches the very top, worried she might faint at any second and tumble down the stairs, but she doesn't. Alpha? Riley now gains my full attention as I turn around to find him, and his parents standing at the opened front door, but not stepping over the threshold. Come in. She's upstairs with the doctor and my guest Kaia. We are waiting for an update. What has happened? Riley's mother asks, her eyes whirling around the hallway. I imagine panicking her worst fear about to be confirms. It would seem she has been attacked. We are just waiting to interpret whether he was able to penetrate. I can't continue. The haunting scream of her mother who drops to the floor, cutting off my own voice. Her hands pull at her hair as she grabs onto her mate's legs. Who dared to touch my daughter? Riley's father demands. We aren't sure, but we think one of the Amber Desert warriors. Riley adds, I'll kill him. Let's wait for my colleague to finish before we make any rash decisions. My head doctor calls out from the living room as he closes his medicinal bag. Riley's father might have come out of retirement recently, but he still has his speed. He moves super fast from the hallway and pushes the doctor up against my book cabinet in the living room. Held by the throat and struggling to breathe, my doctor struggles to remove the iron grip. He isn't a fighting man and wouldn't be able to defend himself from an attack. I move slowly, but with authority as I let my alpha aura roll off me and into the room. Remove your hand, I command, instantly earning a neck turn from Riley's father, as he submits and does as I demand. You will wait until we know the full extent of what has happened to Rosa. Then I will walk out to the alpha and demand that the bastard returns with me. Then you will get what you want. Chapter 32. Hector's point of view. The role of alpha is to protect the members of your pack, even sometimes from themselves. But I couldn't protect Rosa, and it is as we feared. The doctor confirmed that she had taken the pill, which would avoid any pregnancy, especially having taken it quickly after the event. The poor girl. She was home now, her father carrying her home, cradled in his arms as she continued to sob even in her sleep. A life changed. I knew what I needed to do, but I knew what I needed to do. But I was waiting for Kaia to call it a night. I didn't want her to be alone right now. Something was wrong. She didn't touch her dinner, and no, it wasn't just me, Aubrey commented on hearing her being sick in the bathroom. She had finally gone to bed at midnight, struggling to keep her own eyes open as she watched some trash television-y show. I'm not sure what it was. I was watching her. I'm not involving Riley in this. He'll get the news in the morning and have the chance for revenge then. But right now, I need this to go smoothly. Just Alpha talking to Alpha about a crime committed. Not letting it escalate into the battle he so desperately wants. He won't be able to step over my borders and onto my lands. He won't be able to reach her. I'm keeping it to just me and Ezra, Alpha, and Beta. A select few know what we are doing and are on standby readying to defend at any given second. Rightly or wrongly, I've removed all females from Border Patrol tonight, just as an extra precaution. I'm not suggesting they can't defend themselves, but when the news gets out, in the eyes of their mates and fathers, I've already put measures in place to protect them. As soon as we switched guards, it was reported to me that he had arrived, that he was standing watching the switchover take place. Bastard. I find him, which doesn't take long. He was with a group of his warriors on the northeast part of my pack lands. I slowly walk over to him, my footsteps heavy and slow, deliberate in my attempt to make him feel uneasy. Ezra is on my right, walking with just as much purpose, our strides of confidence not going unnoticed. He takes a step into a small clearing, his Beta initially on his right, switching to his left as we approach. Alpha Hector, what a treat this evening. He smirks, hands held out as if he were welcoming an old friend. Cut the bullshit then. I'm not here for pleasantries. Oh, what a shame. I had hoped you weren't alone. His eyes look past me, as if expecting Kaia to walk out of the shadows behind me. What a dick. One of your men attacked an underage young female early yesterday morning. My eyes gaze upon his selection of men, seeing if any of them fit the description. Rubbish. My men haven't stepped over the line. No. But one of my pack members did. He enticed her over, claiming to be her mate. I want him to be brought here now. Hector, you can't be serious. As he folds his arms across his chest, I lose all patience with him. I didn't have time for this. I said, now. I roar, my wolf lunging forward, almost on the cusp of taking full control. His warriors immediately take a defense format, readying to shift and counterattack. I take a deep breath in. I control my wolf. I can't have him giving them the excuse he wants to attack. He needs to admit to his crime. Unless your men have been ordered to resort to such monstrous tactics? I growl, taking a step closer to them, my boots sticking to the gooey mud. It had been raining all day, not once giving us a moment of respite. Tactics? No, of course not. His jaw tenses, his lips making an expression of disgust at my proposal of his leadership. Are you sure? Because it wouldn't be the first time someone from your pack has taken something that doesn't belong to them? He is instantly in my face, his chest puffed out. My high advantage over him gives me the ability to look down at him. Something he has always hated. I'll tell you what, I'll do an exchange. The male for Kaia. His tongue runs across his top teeth, his wolf preparing to elongate his canines. Trying to be intimidating, trying and failing. No chance. I laugh at his pathetic attempt to even pretend she is worth the same value for an exchange. She for him, and he is yours to do whatever you want. Come on, Hector. You know you don't want her. Who says I don't want her? A wickedly evil smile forms across my face. Why do you want her anyway? If Alora is awake, you have what you always wanted? Last chance, Hector. You give her back or I attack. You won't be attacking. Not unless you want the packs I'm in alliance with to storm your pack. You won't be having her then. Not if she doesn't want to return. And you will bring the prick to me, and I will be allowed to punish him in whatever way I see fit. I order. He glares at me, his face now slightly moved away from mine, but still holding that tensed jaw that looks painful each time he swallows. He must know that if he doesn't offer the male up, that I will kill all his men. He must know this. I would treat them all as guilty parts of Rosa's fate. Find out which warrior and bring him to me. He barks his order. Alpha? His beta Zane looks at his alpha in astonishment. Do as I say. Chapter 33. Kaia's point of view. I was struggling to sleep. My mind was completely on what had happened to Rosa, and I found it hard to escape the memories of her haunting cries. As the doctor checked her, she was covered in bruises. Whoever he was, he hadn't been gentle. Not what a mate should be at all. This poor girl will be a shadow of herself for a long time. I held on to her throughout. I had only just met the girl, but something hit home with me about what she had been through. I kept hearing her cries throughout the rest of the day as echoes replaying in my ears. Nausea completely taking over me plenty of times. Mates can be cruel. I didn't tell her what the pill was for. I just told her to take it. Was that wrong? Did I abuse her trust in me? She was too young to deal with that. She has her entire life ahead of her. If this was her mate, she deserved so much better, and in time she'll realize that mates are meant to be a gift, not a curse. I found it hard not to relate it to my own current predicament. But I didn't have the love of a solid family behind me like Rosa. I was pregnant and alone. I was starting to show now. My belly had massively grown in one day, and I was now starting to find the waistband of my clothes getting too tight. Everyone would soon know, soon start whispering that I was mateless but pregnant, that I would be burden to this pack. Stigma always sticks. With my own memories coming back in vivid flashbacks every time I close my eyes, sleep doesn't come easily to me. Unable to rest, I open the bedroom window hoping the night air will cool my hot flushes down, caused by the flashbacks. As I push open the window, I see two figures walking in the distance, my eyes recognizing them immediately. Where was the pack's Alpha and Beta walking to in the middle of the night? Follow them, my wolf demands as she yawns, sounding half-hearted in expecting me to carry out her request. No, we can't get attached to these people. Rosa today was already relying on me too much. We can't stay much longer. We need to start distancing ourselves, not get more involved. But I fear I was already there. I cared for this Rosa girl, her own experience resonating with me. I cared for her brother and her parents, who will need help in finding her spark again. I know I care for Hector. I haven't admitted it to myself, but how could I not? I seem to have a one-sided mate bond with him, and the way he handled today was the complete opposite of Than. He was a leader. He remained strong when others would use their fists. If things were different, if we had met another time, I would push forward with the connection, fight for him. But I can't stay. I can't raise a pack heir within an enemy pack. I'm not a cruel person. I just couldn't do that to the child or the child's father. Better for us to find father or hide in the human world for some time. I have money, I could do that. But I ignore my wolf and don't follow. But I do keep an eye out the bedroom window. And I'm surprised to find not 2, but 3 males returning from the shadows. One being held tightly by the wrists by Beta Ezra. He makes an effort to escape, but is swiftly held at the throat by Hector, who stops. And I wonder why until I see the car arriving and pulling up next to them. The car's arrival leaving muddy car tire marks in the grass. It hadn't stopped raining all day and all night so far. They all enter the car, which is driven by the head warrior, who was at the security meeting I attended. This must be the male that attacked Rosa, her mate. But if he was an Amber Desert Pack member, why has Then given him up? Then doesn't do anything out of the goodness of his own heart. I know that now more than ever. He was stubborn, arrogant, and always thinking of the next step. It suddenly occurs to me, what did Hector promise him in return? What have they agreed to? I could feel the icy coldness of panic hitting my chest and spreading down my spine. The closing of the bedroom window doing nothing to remove the chill that now suffocates me. I have never felt so vulnerable in arriving at this pack than I do at this very moment in time. What did Hector promise then in return? He must have given his word that I would return to him. Which means I have no choice. I have to leave before I am taken. Chapter 34. Kaia's point of view. My stomach was in complete knots. What do I do? Leave now? But it is the middle of the night? I don't even know where father is. I was waiting for the confirmed new sighting. Panic was continuing to creep in on me, and the lack of sleep was doing things to my usually calm, under stress mindset. The house is dead quiet, so much so that I hear the moment Hector walks back in and presses the ice dispenser on the fridge. I won't wait for him to hand me over to, than to find out. I'd rather he told me to my face and gave me enough notice to prepare myself. Gave me the respect of at least looking into my eyes when he tells me. I head downstairs, where the ticking grandfather clock at the bottom of the staircase confirms the current time as 2:30 a.m. The solemn sight of the notorious dark phantom Alpha isn't what I was expecting at all. A glass of whiskey in hand, he was half bent over the kitchen island worktop, his free hand rubbing at his temple. "What are you doing up?" He turns when I enter the kitchen, the floorboards creaking under my steps. I couldn't sleep. Who was that man? A large sigh escapes him as he stands up and turns completely to face me. His lower back resting against the kitchen unit, his legs crossed at the front. How was it possible for him to own a room with only him and me in it? If the situation wasn't so dire, I'd reflect more internally on how handsome he looks. How he looks like a model in a whiskey campaign. He was the one that attacked Rosa. So, he has traded me in. Where is he now? In the cells. What, and then just gave him up to you? He doesn't miss the sarcasm in my voice. his body straightening, no longer at ease as his eyes furrow at my unusual tone. Well, yes. I don't believe him, then would have wanted something in return. I was going to follow you. Well, I'm glad that you didn't. Why am I here? I'm too involved. I'm on the right-hand side of Rosa, helping to hold her up with her mother on her left. I could feel her legs were wobbly, like a newborn fawn, as I overcompensate to take more of her weight. This was the complete opposite of me distancing myself. We were heading into the cells. Rosa had only now built up the courage to face him the afternoon after. We enter a cell, which is heavily guarded, even though the suspect is chained to a metal chair in the middle of the cell. Riley, Rosa's father, Hector, and Ezra are already in the cell. Their eyes zoned in on Rosa. Her sobs start even from the sight of him, for two reasons. For how he looks, he's been beaten already. Cuts adorn his face, and bruising becoming more prominent by the minute. He can hardly keep one of his eyes open. The second reason, and this is where I feel her pain, she can feel some kind of energy between them. She's too young to feel the full gravitational pull of the mate bond, but she feels something. Albeit small, an innocent attraction on her part that he has completely taken advantage of. Name? Hector's voice is cold as he starts the proceedings of I'm assuming this male's trial. Fuck you. He spits out at Hector's shoes, blood in his saliva. Rosa, is this the male that attacked you yesterday morning? Hector's amused eyes look down at his shoes, before looking back up and turning gray to a burnt orange. His alpha aura now swirling around the cell. Yes, that's him. Why did you attack her? Hector continues to coldly ask, his eyes now looking deadly. She's my mate. I only took what was mine. He has no remorse whatsoever, not even knowing the true extent of his actions. Can he not see what he has done to this girl? How distraught she still is. I can feel my inner hatred of this male tipping out of my mouth. I'm going past the point of not getting involved. She's too young to feel the mate bond. I roar out at him, which gives the reverse desired effect from the male. He was smirking at me. He knew who I was. That I was a member of his pack. It wouldn't have happened if you weren't here. He looks at me with disgust, trying to pass the blame for what he did, but is cut off. Rosa, you will reject him, and then, once he accepts your rejection and returns it, you will leave the cells. Do you understand? Hector talks over the male who is trying to get a reaction out of me, walking in front of me and blocking me from the male's hateful gaze. I have no doubt that if he was able to break free of the chains, he would attack me. Why? What reason has he to hate me? They have what they want. They're true Luna. Chapter 35. Kaia's point of view. Rosa. Riley tries to get his sister to focus on the task in hand, before his eyes glaze over into a mind link. Whatever words of encouragement he gives seem to work as her head starts to nod slowly in agreement. She stands by herself, leaving mine and her mother's steady embrace as she moves closer to the chained-up male before her. She was the bravest young woman I had ever met. She will be fine with the love and support of her family and pack. She will be fine. I'm not entirely sure what is happening until Rosa rejects the mate bond. His own name forced from his lips as something is plunged into his side. Rosa doesn't see it, but I do. Riley does it very discreetly. As she makes her rejection, he fights against Riley's hold, a protective brother enforcing his own revenge on the what should be protective mate of his little sister. The male squirms, even looking pained by the rejection, his mouth refusing to open, refusing to accept and reject in return. Rosa, close your eyes. Hector's cold, firm voice echoes through the room, his alpha command rolling off him and onto her. I feel like an intruder, witnessing not only a secretive event of the pack, but also a private family situation that should be done behind closed doors. A forced rejection. Again, I'm getting in too deep here. Following her alpha's command, Rosa closes her eyes. When the male grunts in pain as the curved knife is twisted, causing enough pain for him to commit to his own rejection, she whimpers until her mother whispers in her ear to accept it. My heart breaks as a high-pitched scream leaves Rosa. She collapses to the floor, her mother catching her in time. Her skin turns gray, and as I look back up at him, his skin mirrors a similar color. Both of them rejecting the choice of the moon goddess. It makes you question whether the moon goddess knows what she is doing sometimes. Whether she actually has a plan, or we are now alone. I am heartbroken for her. She is only 16. Too young to experience the pain of the curse of the mate bond. But was I any older when then tricked me? I was 16 when I joined college and he approached me. Was he just as guilty as this male sitting before us? Both of them are in pain, even the male. His breathing eerie as he sucks in air. Perhaps it has just dawned on him what he has done, what a mistake he has made. Is this what it is like to reject the mate bond? This level of pain, and Rosa can't even feel the full bond. Goddess help me. With the mate bond severed between the pair, Rosa is taken out by her mother and father. Her sobs quieter this time. Riley remains, as does Hector and Ezra. My eyes refuse to leave the amber desert male in front of me, whose eyes are transfixed on mine. I'm certain if we still had the pack link together, he would be cursing at me through the mind link. Without those chains, he would be clawing at me, thinking I was the enemy to his pack. Thinking he was doing his alpha a favor. Hector remains close to me, his eyes following Rosa and her parents leave the room. Once they do, he takes in the male like a predator sizing up its prey. It doesn't take long for Hector to realize who has the male's undivided attention. I do. Kaia, perhaps you should join them. Hector's words manage to tear my glaring eyes away and onto him. You need to leave, he says with a cold authority, which I respect. I understand now what was happening. The mate bond was severed so that when this pathetic excuse for a male was killed, dear sweet Rosa wouldn't feel his death, wouldn't be punished again by the mate bond. In time she can have a new life. She can hopefully find a second mate. This amber desert male won't return to his alpha. He won't leave these cells alive. Leaving the cells, I walk slowly back to the alpha house. My eyes keeping to the borders in the distance. He was out there. He was waiting for me. As much as I want to honor Hector's agreement with, then for the sake of Rosa. I can't return. I won't. If he finds out I am with his child, I won't even be returned to my house like before. I'll be in a prison, even worse. Locked away in the alpha house, my every movement monitored. I can't live like that again. Then wouldn't even accept my rejection if I tried. He knows that keeping me locked in the mate bond serves his purpose. Chapter 36. Hector's point of view. You want to handle him? I open a three-way mind link between Ezra, Riley, and myself. You will allow it? Riley seems surprised by my offer. True. It is an alpha's duty, but this piece of shit attacked his sister. I would let him rip the shit to pieces if it chooses. But it won't make him feel any better. He'll just have eliminated the risk, not the memory. She's your sister. He was meant to protect her. I think it is a fitting punishment. But I understand if you don't want to. It won't make the memory or hatred disappear, just the person. He had already lost a lot of blood from the dagger's tip being dipped in wolfsbane. His wound wasn't healing, and he'll be dead by sunset, even without further punishment. It doesn't take Riley long to give his punishment. He pulls the dagger out of the male's side and plunges it into his neck. I probably would have just snapped his neck with my bare hands. But each to their own. Returning back home, I take a detour and check with some of the guards that have been on border patrol all day. They were getting ready for the nighttime shift switch over. Checking my watch. It was already 7 p.m. I didn't sleep last night and was now starting to feel it. I was tired and bored of Than's piss-taken, trying to goad me into a reaction. I was pushing my wolf out. He was trying to highlight the point that we stood in between Kaia and the prisoner earlier, when he was glaring at her, too long and too menacingly for my liking. But she was handling it, and I didn't doubt that it affected her. She was strong. As I keep telling my wolf, he just has a soft spot for single mothers. Nothing else. So why did I want to pull the shit's windpipe out from the way he was staring at her? I'm tired. It's been a hectic 2 days. Hell, it's been hectic. How long has Kaia been here now? I shake my head, shaking my thoughts away as I enter the Alpha house, looking forward to a long, hot shower, when I stumble across a sight I didn't expect. Kaia sitting at the bottom of the staircase, her rucksack by her legs. What's going on? I had a feeling my wish for dinner, shower, and an early night were off the cards. She doesn't answer me at first, her chin rested in her palm as she looks at me, giving me no clue in what she is thinking. Kaia. I take a step closer, removing my phone from my pocket and placing it on the sideboard in the hallway. You traded me in for the mail. I understand, don't worry, I'm not mad. The words that leave her lips aren't what I was expecting, and I take a second to make sure I heard her correctly. What are you talking about? Hector, please. Then doesn't do anything for free. He won't have just given up a pack member for punishment, for death. He wanted me, didn't he? Yes, I answer truthfully. And you agreed? No. Again, I answer truthfully. Really? Kaia, I'm not lying. I laugh at how preposterous her accusation is. I regret my reaction instantly when she stands up and grabs her bag in her hands, heading for the door. I don't want her to leave, and I have a feeling she isn't bluffing. I grab her elbow as she walks past me, changing my tone into one of seriousness. Yes, he said he wanted to trade, but I told him no deal. That you weren't worth the same value. I believe those were actually my exact words. You did? Of course I did. Something odd takes over me as my hand continues to grip onto her elbow. She must have showered before preparing to leave. A slight scent of coconut and lime exudes from her. A new shower gel, perhaps. Her green eyes watch me, checking for a telltale sign of a lie, of a fib. Her green eyes are winning the battle against her blue rim that circle her pupil. Her wolf kept well underneath the surface. Perhaps then would have traded her. Perhaps I still will. But today I didn't. She was worth 100 of those pricks, if not more. The desire to step forward and touch her lips overwhelmed me, to stroke her face, to remove that annoying long strand of dark brown hair that is sitting on her collarbone. Hector, it's okay if you did. It would take a strong person to deny then. I know how stubborn he can be. Then it's a good thing she was no longer with him, but now with me. You are mine to protect. Her eyes flash at my comment, her cheeks turning a cute shade of pink. As a pack member, as long as you are within my pack. I start to correct myself. I mean, as your alpha, it is my job to protect you. I think that's what I meant. Chapter 37. Than's point of view? Utter horseshit. I could feel the moment my pack member died. The one I just gave away. What else could I have done? Hector had me over a barrel and he knew it. As an alpha, I was entrusted to feel each birth and each death. A hard part of being an alpha sometimes. But it was part of the balance. I've been told it feels different for every alpha, but for me it feels like a candle has been blown out. The soft glow of life now a small, cold void. However, it doesn't last long before a new pack birth enters the void, the circle of shifter life. I could have killed him myself for fucking things over. My plan has been delayed now. The now dead male having taken matters into his own hands. I have no doubt that she was his mate, but if I didn't hand him over, my reputation would be smeared as the alpha that condones attacks on underage females. Hector would make sure every alpha, and especially the Lunas, would be told. The Lunas being the ones that whisper into their alpha mates' ears, sealing the deal each night in between their bedsheets of how the alphas should treat other alphas. If you want to make a lasting impression, impress the Luna. Thankfully, my Alora wasn't like that. She thought for herself and had a heart of gold, which is why I need to push forward. I can't lose her. Mother was one of those Lunas, playing the game just as much as the alphas, if not more. I'll never forget the day she last saw Hector, trying to throw him out by the scruff of his neck. She wasn't pleased with father for getting involved. He always had a way of reining her back in. But Hector had a way of irritating mother. Where I've been watching my sleeping mate, Hector has been busy making alliances with the other packs for a while now, cementing his reputation in the alpha circles, flirting with the Lunas to gain their trust. It's not just the Dark Phantom pack I'm up against now. It's all his shitty contacts that seem to idolize him, especially that Alpha Jude. Hector is playing his hand very well in all of this, refusing to do a trade, which didn't surprise me at all. He'll wait for the most opportune moment for him before he suggests a trade. I know what he wants, but he's not having her. I need to be more underhanded. I need to start being more like him, ruthless. That's how he has carved this reputation out, as a ruthless alpha using underhanded tactics. She's remaining at the Dark Phantom pack, staying with him because she feels safe. Little does she know that he can't be trusted. You'll never be able to trust him. I need to entice her to meet me at the borders. Alone, without him. Somehow, I need to get a message to her, but we are being watched just as we are watching them. I need to show her that she can't trust him, that he is only keeping her to get at me. Looking out at the Dark Phantom pack grounds ahead of me, an idea comes to my mind. Zane, you're in charge. I order at Zane through the mind link, giving my beta full authority in my absence. Yes, Alpha. Where are you going? To the local city. I'll be back by midnight. I drive my car to the nearest city, knowing exactly what I needed and what I wanted to do. The only way to get something into the pack for Kaia is to send it in the mail. A courier. The only problem with being in a city is it is full of non-shifters. Full of humans who are odd beings. They moan about the stresses of modern-day life, but then crave and encourage it with late openings and 24-hour retail outlets. I managed to reach a courier building before closure, getting my note written and sent to Kaia for the attention of the Alpha House. I am confident my plan will work. He has eyes on every vehicle in and out of his gates, but not the goods delivered. Finally, I am starting to act like him. I just need to get a note to her, an innocent note, that's all. I'll play on her heartstrings or low. She can prevent an attack, avoid unnecessary deaths if she just comes out and talks to me. She's not easy to manipulate, my Alpha Command always struggling to control her. But she won't want their deaths on her conscience. Not the Kaia I know. Chapter 38. Kaia's point of view. I was in the office with Hector, a not as talkative office buddy as usual. Hector seemed deep in his thought, my eyes catching him looking at me when my face was turned. Then he would move quickly enough so that I never catch him in the act, but I could see in peripheral vision that he was watching me. What was he thinking? He claims he didn't give me up in a trade, and I believe him. No one could feign that level of sincerity as he did last night. I was checking my private email account in the office. I do not give out my email account often. I use it as a storage facility and can't run the risk of it being hacked. Even then, never knew my email address. I always made sure he texted me at college. But he spent every moment of the day with me at college, so he hardly ever texted either. Only a select few know my email address, one of which had emailed me with an update. The picture attached to the email was what I had been waiting for. A picture of father captured by a CCTV camera. He didn't look as sharply dressed as I remember, but it was definitely him. The picture was grainy, but there was no mistaking his salt and pepper hair color. I actually didn't look a lot like father. Getting my coloring from mother, or so he always said. An instant message request window pops up on my screen, from my contact. He was online and somehow knew I was too. The CCTV picture is in a coastal area. Can you get there? I suppose I came here looking for information for father, and haven't moved on as I didn't know where he was. This new lead should be the reason I move on now. Soon, I reply, after rubbing at my eyes. I only had a small window to type in, not the space for an entire essay of what really has been going on. Where are you? I type out that I am at the Dark Phantom Pack, but something prevents me from pressing add. I can see he is typing again on the live chat window, but stops. Do I want him to know where I am? That I am still here? Everything okay? Hector pulls me out of my thoughts. Me? I look to him, my fingers still poised on the keyboard, waiting to send my reply. You've been sighing and rubbing your eyes. You look stressed. I'm fine. I wave my hand, trying to brush off his concern. Kaia? Hector, I'm fine. He doesn't believe me. He was already standing up and heading my way. Shoot. I was pressing on the mouse, trying to close out of the instant message window. I didn't want Hector to see the CCTV picture. Thankfully, Aubrey was walking into the office, surprising me when she hands me an envelope. I take it with apprehension. Nobody has ever sent me a letter here. Nobody knows I am here except for. I'll open it. I was too slow. Hector pulls the letter from out of my grasp and rips it open. His eyes grow increasingly more irritated the more he reads, and it only confirms to me who the sender is. It's from Van. He wants you to meet him at the pack border. He's got some nerve. What is he playing at? I manage to rip the letter from out of Hector's hands, my eyes casting upon it quickly, before it is torn up. What Hector failed to declare was that Then promised to withdraw his warriors if I go out to meet with him. Just to hear him out. That I could save a lot of innocent lives just by seeing him. Bastard. Don't fall for his tricks, Kaia. Oh, believe me, I won't. Not again. But I think I would like to meet with him. The letter requested that I come alone, but I'm not stupid. It said to come alone, but he is a thick shit if he thinks for 1 minute I would let you go out there alone. Give me 10 minutes to rally some warriors. Thank you, Hector. I wasn't afraid to meet with them. He could speak whatever lies he wants. I know the truth. But having Hector with me gave me a sense of security that I hadn't had for a long time. Not even when I was married to Than. He may not be my baby's father, but Hector has shown me more kindness and acceptance in the short space of me being here than my ex ever did. There will be no chance of me returning to the Amber Desert Pack. He can promise to back off from me listening to his speech, but I won't do what he wants. Chapter 39. Kaia's point of view. The walk is longer than I expected. Or maybe it's just knowing who is at the end of the hike. When Hector said he would prepare warriors, I thought maybe no more than 5. 20 is a little excessive. Hector doesn't know that needs me to be alive, needs me to be safe. He just needs me to be safe in the Amber Desert Pack, safely tucked away. Are you sure about this? Hector asks as we walk side by side to one another. Yes, he has offered to withdraw his warriors. I'll believe that when I see it. Me too, but it's the first step to getting them away from your borders, giving your pack members their freedom back. This can't go on for much longer. The Dark Phantom Pack members had been very understanding of Hector's orders and curfew restrictions. But soon they will start to complain, start to take matters into their own hands if their alpha doesn't take action. And that is what frightens me. I don't want another example of what happened to Rosa. I would never forgive myself. I can smell him before I see him. The sickly feeling of regret hitting me as I can feel the small buzz of the mate bond trying to pull me to him. Why did I come? He'll try and use it to his advantage like he always does. It's funny, I hadn't missed the feeling of the bond from then. Hector's already taking preference in my opinion. I stop in the middle of a clearing, trees surrounding us that block most of the midday sun, providing natural coverage that would be ideal for concealing oneself. Footsteps crunching down on leaves signals his movements towards me. Hector pulling me back slightly next to him. Beta Ezra on my other side. He comes into the clearing, his hair grown out since the last time I saw him. His red hair growing from the buzz cut and into the longer locks, similar to what I used to enjoy running my fingers through. That was then. This is now. I'm under no illusion that this would have been a mistake, that he would explain, and I would run back into his arms. Our love for each other being like it was before I joined his pack. Our love conquering all. My love has turned to hatred and pity for the alpha male before me. My skin crawls when I think of the plans we made, the way he used to whisper into my ear. All lies, all fake. I use that feeling of hate in finding the strength to address him, to confront him. You said you would withdraw your warriors if I came and heard you out. I did. Will you keep your word? He looks at me with a look of amusement, before a smirk forms across his face. He had no intention of keeping his word. He's looking at me like I was that gullible teenager again. Kaia, enough of this. You are my wife and will return. You are in breach of our marriage contract. I would like to see a copy of that contract then, because you have been in breach of it from the moment I signed it. Whatever communication we have between us stops then growls at me for my return outburst. Only for Hector to pull me behind Ezra and take a step forward, growling back at the Amber Desert Alpha. Go back to the house. He has no intention of honoring his word and retreating. Hector's voice enters my mind. It still feels odd to have another male's voice in my head. For so long I only knew father and a select few in my birth pack. Father was always so protective of me having lost mother at my own birth. Then when the pack was attacked and I was sent away, I lost the link to father's pack, whatever was left of it, when I joined the Amber Desert pack. Then never really used the mind link on me once I joined his pack. Now I know why. He would have seen it as some kind of twisted deception to her. So much now was making sense of what Dan did or didn't do. What will you do? I ask him, hesitant to leave. Give him the fight he so badly wants. I can't help myself. I take a step forward, turning on my side to try and gain Hector's attention. I don't want his pack going to war. Not for me, not because of me. I can't have blood on my hands. It won't be, it'll be on his. Just when I think the worst possible outcome was about to commence, a whistle whips my head towards then, but all I see is his back. He is walking away, his warriors following, pulling back. What the hell? I look to Hector, who seems just as bewildered by Than's sudden movement. Maybe he was honoring his word after all. Ezra. Alpha? Push one of every 2 guards out of our borders. I want to make sure they are leaving for definite. But make sure our borders are still protected. Yes, Alpha. Ezra moves quickly to give his beta command. The men behind us pushing forward with Ezra leading them. Are you not going to follow? No, I want to make sure you get back to the house. That was odd behavior, even for Than. Chapter 40. Than's point of view. My eyes couldn't believe what they were seeing. Complete betrayal. She was nothing more than a traitor. Not only has she gone straight to the enemy pack, but she's entwined herself within the pack. With them, with him. There was no mistaking it. The small curve of her tummy when she turned on her side. She was with child. The bitch was pregnant, and by him. If she thinks being pregnant would deter me, then she is wrong. If anything, it has given me a new fire to bring them both down. I cleared my men out immediately. She needs to know the truth, and she needs to know it now. I need to break them apart. I need to make her vulnerable. Alone. He keeps fucking shielding her. If she knew he was only using her, she would run, like she did from me. But this time, I'll be waiting. I'll be ready. She won't get away from me again. I drove myself alone back to the Amber Desert Pack, Zane making the right choice in not joining me and driving some of the warriors back. The rest followed in other cars. I didn't wait for them. My foot was pushed down on the gas pedal for the entire journey, not even stopping for red lights. My mood was dark, my aura suffocating even me. Not even having the window fully down helped to clear the atmosphere that was making it difficult to drive. What I really needed was an outlet for my anger. I wanted to shift and run, killing animals in my wolf form, but I didn't have the time. We were up against it more than ever. I speed through the pack gates, mind linking the guards to let me through. I didn't want to stop. The car skids to a halt, knocking over a large plant pot outside the Alpha house as I leave it too late to hit on the brake pedal. Exiting the car, I push the car door open and head to my house, not even bothering to close the car door behind me. I won't be staying long. I storm into the Alpha house, finding Alora in my office, sitting at my desk on my computer. Her eyes light up when she sees that I have returned ahead of schedule. Any other day, I would appreciate her response to my early arrival, but not today. Then, she eyes me with hesitation when I do not mirror her happy expression. I need a photo of him and you together? Hello, Alora. I missed you, Alora. She starts to giggle to herself, finding my odd behavior amusing, even shaking her head as she returns to the computer. Alora, I really don't have time for this. Do you have a photo or not? A photo of who, exactly? Of you and Hector. I shout, my hands shaking from frustration. I place them by my side, fisting them into balls to try and control the trembling. Her amusement stops instantly, her face taking on a look of hurt as she struggles to look me in the eye. You know I don't. Really? No, then, you made me burn them, remember? Yes, I remember. I remember very well that I made her burn any memory of them spending any time together. But I know, Alora, you don't have one photo of him? Not even something hidden away for safekeeping, just in case. My chest burns at the thought of her, maybe thinking they had a future together, that she had a future without me. In case of what? Has something happened? Is he all right? She stands up, her concern for him even now eating away at me. My temper is worsening, my wolf wanting to shift and attack him. My wolf would quite happily travel the length of distance between our packs just to have the chance to end him, to take the threat away once and for all. She says I am hers, that she is mine. But as her forehead furrows and her mouth frowns, I'm finding it hard to believe her. I storm out my office in the hunt for a photograph. I did make her destroy everything, but she must have kept something. Something I can use, anything. I made sure nobody touched her belongings, but she had a few boxes still from when she moved in from her parents' house. Then, what's going on? Alora chases after me up the stairs towards our bedroom. But I changed rooms last minute. She wouldn't have anything on display. It must be in with her boxes that we always kept in a guest room. I can't help myself. My mood is red, my eyes seeing only red. I've never felt anger like this before, not even when I found out about Hector and Alora. I don't even know who is more angry at her being pregnant, my wolf or me. At first, Hector wants my mate. Now he has my wife and has impregnated her. I start ripping at cardboard boxes, completely making them unusable. Once I'm finished with them, they will be shreds of cardboard. I'm manic in my search, that I toss Alora's items to the ground. items that I couldn't bring myself to look at while she was in a coma. Things from our childhood. Movie tickets. Pressed flowers of the wild bouquets I used to pick for her. Silly love letters. Even a pack of love hearts she has kept from a Valentine's Day we spent together. I'm showing it no love, no treasured value, as Alora tries to prevent my hands from searching more boxes. Then it falls to my feet. A black diary from when she was 16, before she drank the wolfsbane.